Hello, this is Sunil Sunder Raj with Jersey Sporting News. Today, I'm happy to be speaking with Jason Fiore, the new head baseball coach of the County College of Morris in Randolph, New Jersey. Once again, Coach Fiore, thank you so much for taking some time out to speak with me today. I really appreciate it.
And thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it as well.
Okay, Coach Fiore, congratulations. I'm becoming the new head baseball coach at the County College of Morris. I mean, what just right off the bat, what does this opportunity mean to you personally, Coach?
For me, it is kind of it's bittersweet. I was out of coaching for a couple of years as my kids were going to college. I always wanted to get into the collegiate coaching experience. It takes a little bit of time and patience to break in. And when the opportunity arose to go to CCM, no less, where I played and graduated from, I thought it was a no-brainer to begin. I'm happy that I was selected and look forward to many more years of success and getting the program back to where it used to be.
So full circle moment for you, Coach Fiore. I mean, that's got to feel really good, so just knowing that you graduated from the school, and the fact that now here you are, the new head baseball coach. I mean, it's just got to be a surreal moment for you just to talk about that, and the fact that you're going to be running the whole show, all the operations here. So just talk about that.
It is. It is. And you don't think about this when you're coaching middle school kids and you're coaching high school kids and you're coaching travel ball. I've never been one of those want to coach and move up and to the point where you get maybe even Division I or professional. I just kind of took it as the seasons rolled out and saw where if it fit my life and it fit my desire to continue with a certain age group or get older or younger. Collegiately is something that's always, I never thought of until it actually became a possibility. Having played there, a lot of my approach to coaching at CCM is what I learned from the coaches that I played for when I was there. Lee Saris and Dennis Morgan, who are still in the game as far as private lessons and scouting. I learned a lot from them as a player. And then, like most managers these days, they're former catchers, as am I. And now installing what they taught me as a player and teaching kids of today, which is different than teaching kids 30 years ago. But the approach is the same: the hard work, the discipline, the accountability, family. That's what we're teaching, and that's what I want to enhance on what the previous coaching staff had already built, and I want to enhance it to make it even more successful, so we can, bring a title home.
Yeah, it's really building that winning culture and environment, Coach. Just talk about before we came on the air. You're a busy man these days. You're on the recruiting trail, so I mean, I just had to ask you, what does a daily schedule entail for you now, Coach?
As you could see, yes, I'm in the car. I'm parked on the side of in a parking lot safely, so I'm not driving. But yes, the continuous hunt for what is now 2023's current rising seniors in high school, visiting showcases, visiting summer ball travel tournaments, meeting with players, meeting with their families on visits. The recruit for a junior college potential player is kind of like a late developing thing. No kid that I'm aware of sets out in between his freshman and sophomore years of high school announcing he's going to be blessed to continue his collegiate career at a junior college. They, and as they should be exercising all of the best options where they want to go, coupling their desire to play baseball with the geographics and the academics and their ability to play there. Finding out what the landscape is of that four-year school's roster, kids returning from the previous spring, what the coach's recruiting roster looks like, if kids coming in that may affect his position or playing time. At the junior college level, we kind of wait until all of those decisions are kind of unfolding and see what manifests before we now become more of a viable option for some of these kids. I'm not a competitor of four-year schools when it comes to recruiting for players. I'm a bridge to get there. My goal is to get kids from where I have them on the roster to a four-year school. And it's a joint effort. It's a joint effort between our athletic department, myself and my coaching staff, the player and his family. The school that he wants to go to has to match like I said, the financials and the geographics, but he has to have the option to play. I can't have a kid whose grades don't match the school he's looking for. It has to be a real good fit. And when it's a good fit with all of those characteristics, we're going to need to make sure that kid is going to play. Is he wanted? And that's a big thing with us. Mm-hmm. If I'm recruiting you, if I'm talking to you, if I'm walking down the hill to the field with you at our campus, obviously we want you. But I'm very aware that other schools, four-year schools, are looking at you. My thought would be to say, go there. Go to the University of whichever or whatever college. We just want you to know that we're here. We are a viable option. And that if things don't work out on your end with the four-year schools, whatever they may be, we're here. Okay. I'm a competitor, obviously, against other junior colleges, but for a four-year school, I'm a bridge. I'm a bridge for that player to get from high school to my roster, get a good degree for an affordable price, basically right in your own backyard, and then move on to a four-year school. And this past spring, we've had 17 kids graduate or leave off our roster because their eligibility is up at the JUCO level. 12 are fortunate enough to move on. So basically 75% of our graduating kids are moving on to four-year school. So we're hoping to even enhance that and improve those numbers with kids getting their degrees, kids making all region academic certifications, and moving on to the four-year schools that hopefully they'll get into and play right away.
Yeah, no, those are outstanding numbers. I wanted to ask you about the coaching staff as well. Before we came on there, Coach Fiore, we talked about Nate Rowe being named the new pitching coach. Nate played baseball at at the County College of Morris, Rutgers University, and for the Somerset Patriots. So just talk about how important it is to bring Nate Rowe, that type of caliber of talent, to the staff.
Yeah, Nate Rowe is going to be. I want to say the kids are our gems of the recruiting season, but I wasn't anticipating the pitching coaching position becoming open. Our previous coach, Tyler Poulin, who was the Mount Olive High School pitching coach prior to that, did a very good job with our kids. A career change would have conflicted his hours with us. So he's no longer able to keep the post. So when I had to go out and look for a coaching staff, it basically wiped away our whole staff. And I needed to go get a pitching coach, which is paramount because at the junior college level, because of budget, because of you have to wear multiple hats and have different. You can't just be the pitching coach only. You can't be just the offensive hitting coach. You wear multiple hats. So the pitching is something I didn't want to shortchange. So I needed a guy with experience, a guy I knew, a guy who's currently in the game who has an arm care program, who doesn't just go out there and watch a kid throw and give him a private lesson or teach him A, B, and C. I wanted a guy who knows what he's doing. Most recently, Nate played a couple of weeks ago. He was on he was asked to pitch for a team. So like this is a guy who eats and sleeps this stuff. In the last year or so, he opened up the Nate Rowe Baseball Academy out in Middlesex County. It is a very sought after appointment to get for the arm care program that he has. It's not just a pitching lesson. It's not just kids going and throwing to a catcher or into a cargo net. It's it's like the total arm cares and the bio pitches. It's a very it's done very carefully. It's done with the kid's health interest in mind. It's done increase your flexibility, not just throwing a heavy ball into a fence 100 times to try to throw harder. Um, I know velo is the sexy number these days, but we want these kids to stay within themselves, as they say, not be more or throw harder than you normally can. We don't want anybody hurt. Okay. And these days kids are getting hurt more and more.
Yeah.
So we want to do this intelligently and safely. Nate's program allows that to happen. So Nate being on board not only gives my kids the best opportunity to be the best versions of themselves, but it gives them the opportunity to have an experienced guy pour his information into them,
Yeah.
albeit he's a young kid. He's 30 years old. He's not 52. He's not, an older guy that looks maybe more like their dad, where they might be more inclined to shut it down. It's a kid who's closer to their age, who's done it recently. He's the image. He's what these kids want to be. He's a Division I player. He's a successful pitcher, professional resume. He's what these kids, dream to be.
Yeah, definitely someone who's relatable. And those are great points you made, Coach Fiore, because, I said there's so many mitigating factors. You talk about strength and conditioning, nutrition,
Sure.
you got mental
Sure.
health. I mean, that those all play, I said, essential role in terms of developing, said these players. Just talk about, you talked about before the showcases. There's summer ball involved. Now social media, you see a lot of these kids posting their
Sure.
highlight videos. You have the highlight
Sure.
companies. So you get, I mean, you talk about like instant access in terms of seeing, I said, the talent out there. I'm just wondering how that factors in as well for you, Coach Fiore.
So when we're creating our roster, and you're writing down the names and you're putting all the names into your head, and you're writing down who's going to play where and what players may be two ways. You take the kids, for example, the kids that graduated or are leaving and moving on to 4-year schools.
Mm-hmm.
We have our exit meetings when the kids hand in their uniforms at the end of this past spring. Mm-hmm. And once we find out who's coming back, once we find out what their health and academic statuses are, if there was any questions about that, we couple that with the recruiting process. That recruiting can be done by people that we know, that we want to see, that we're in direct contact with, people who have reached out to us via email, via a third-party high school coach, people that we've seen at showcases that we've been invited to, people that we've seen on the recruiting trail, going to the Diamond Nations and these universities that host these showcases. Kids running the 60-yard dash, and kids simulated games, and the underclassmen games, the 2023 underclassmen games had some very talented players, and some of these players are not always committed. A lot of these players, it's a late developing thing for them as it is for us. So my staff and myself getting out there, constantly being on the phone and returning emails promptly to keep a dialogue with these kids, right? It takes, not that there's a certain type of kid that only comes to junior college. It used to be the stigma of, oh, it's the kid who's academically at the current moment challenged. It's the kid who fill in the blank. Everyone's got their own reason why a kid would be going to junior college. That's not the case. I have 2 kids coming in, one transferring in and one coming in from high school. They got 1550s on their SATs. These kids are academically gifted. These kids are athletically gifted. And that is a pretty dangerous weapon when you have an athletic student athlete, okay, who is got those kind of brains and got that kind of ability. That's what we're looking for. Now, all 30-something kids on the team are not going to have those qualities. They might be more of one and less of the other, but You can't play if the grades aren't there.
Yeah.
Okay. Unfortunately, there are academic ineligibilities that do happen. We work with that, and we work with the kids that are incoming freshmen. We couple them with the kids who are returning, and then we shop for recruiting wise from a base of need. I need a X, Y, and Z. That's what we're looking for. Okay. I don't stockpile recruits. We don't accept every single kid who expresses interest or tags us on Twitter. I return every DM on social media. I return every email and text, and I return every voicemail. Um, this is a part time job when you equate it in hours, but it's a full time job with a full time passion. I love what I'm doing, and I incorporate it into my daily workday.
Yeah, no, it's wonderful to hear. And let's just backtrack to the County College of Morris, a program with rich tradition, in terms of
Yes.
producing, say, professional players, over 50 professional players. I mean, the fact three
Yep.
trips to the National Junior College Athletic Association World Series,
Yep.
producing more Major League Baseball players than any other New Jersey junior college. I mean, that's something, as you said, you want to enhance, you want to build on. I mean, that's got to, I mean, that you talk about motivation. I mean, that's right there. Like, to see those kind of statistics out there, coach, knowing how much, I mean, again, talent that, comes through the system, and, to see
Sure.
these kids to go on, play at not only the college level, but then eventually, at the professional level as well.
It's important to us to recruit not only the kid, but we're recruiting the family. We're
Yeah.
recruiting, these kids are extensions of the parents. It's a collective effort. We don't just call the
Mhm.
kid in and keep the parents on the other side of the door. It's a collective effort. We want the parents, especially me as a parent, I want the mom and the dad or grandpa or grandma, I want them to know, I want the high school and travel coaches to know they're in good hands. That as a parent, as a coach, as a adult, I care for your kid. Okay. I am accessible to these kids 24/7 for the most part. They don't call me in the middle of the night, of course, but you get the
Mhm.
idea. Okay. These kids are reaching out to me with as much non baseball stuff as they are baseball stuff. The obvious. Coach, I'm sorry I'm not playing well this today. I'm going to pick it up tomorrow. I'm sorry that for the C minus I got in the accounting class. I'm going for extra help, and I'm going to handle that. I'm sorry I was late for practice. I that. My car broke. All things happen in life, right? You know, some kids have more going on between the ears than other kids. Some kids think too much. Some kids are limited athletically, but you'd never know it because they influence the other kids who are more talented, but they're pushed.
Yeah.
I just want these kids to know, the parents to know, that they can entrust me with their kids because I've sat in those seats that they're in. I've walked in those shoes. I've done the whole I want to go Division 1 and then fell short when you realize you're up against a different type of player. Okay. I want those kids to realize that as a junior college product, as a Division 3 product, as a local product, that there's no better chance to get a baseball education for the price with the degree than right here in your own backyard.
Yeah.
So yes, we consider ourselves trending positive. We want our kids to know, we want this to sell itself. I don't want to have to convince a player after years of doing this. It's kind of like when a company creates a product and so many people have it that it just basically sells itself,
Yeah.
right? That's what we're hoping. The hard work and the personal interaction will never change, but we want to continue what the last few years have yielded some very good players going to some very good schools. We're going to continue that, and we want to create or continue or re-jumpstart the relationships with the high school
Yeah.
coaches in Northern Jersey. There's
Yeah.
some very good baseball programs in the state, and we want to be as competitive, if not better than, and make it a no-brainer that if JUCO is your an option for you, it's a no-brainer to come to us.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, that's fantastic. Just continue that tradition. Hey, I want to ask you not only the facilities there at the college, but also the support from administration, athletic department. I believe President Dr. Anthony J. Iacono and athletic director Jack Sullivan. Just talk about,
Yes.
again, it takes entire village, as you've
Sure.
alluded to. So I
Sure.
just wanted to ask you that because having that structure in place
Sure.
and is so critical. Just if you can elaborate on that, Coach Fiore.
Sure. So I got hired last summer, so obviously I don't know anyone from having worked there for years.
Okay.
I met Dr. Iacona a few times. The president has made it a point to meet with all of the coaches. There were a lot of new hires along with myself and my staff last year. A new softball coach, a new basketball coach. There were some new coaches that came in, so it was a turnover, and I'm not sure it's like that every single year. The athletic department with Jack Sullivan and Roger Stevens, I think it's important to have synergy. It's important to have a good foundation where the athletic department and the coach of a certain sport are on the same page. It can't be them and us. It's a collective effort. You're right. And I'm talking from the simplest of things of, you know, the again, it's junior college baseball, not even the bus leagues, it's the van leagues, okay? Making sure our vans are taken care of, making sure the scheduling is all done. My goal is to, when I'm handing in every report, uploading every website, whatever I have to do administratively, I don't want them to have to chase me down and look for something. I consider myself meticulous and very organized. I think it's important, and I think it kind of shows in how I keep my field, how I keep my dugouts. Very, very clean, free of garbage, free of things laying around. A good relationship with plant maintenance, always maintaining our field. If we need some silly zip ties for the windscreen, or if we need a new hose for the to water the field, if we need a new, we get it. If you don't communicate with the administration, obviously I'm partial to this administration because they hired me. Jack Sullivan has been at CCM for almost 20 years. He is a former college teammate of mine at Fairleigh Dickinson. So I think there was a trust factor. I think there was a belief in me that made it easier for him to allow the program to be handed over to me. His saying of crawl before you could walk is sometimes frustrating to me because I like to move very fast. Okay. So I sprint before I can walk, actually. But I think he entrusts me. I think we experienced some success this year, having played a full, really non-COVID restricted season for the first time in a couple of years. I was really happy to give some of the third-year guys that are graduating that opportunity to get 40, 42 games under their belt. I think they didn't play that combined in the previous two seasons. So having a good relationship with them is how I choose. It's how I live my own life. I want my staff to be their own coaches. I want Nate, I want the other guys to be their own coaches, and everything runs through me at the end of the day, but it's a collective effort. The coaches are allowed to coach their own way within our program.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to have that relationship with the administration, because if you don't, it's only going to get stickier. I'm going to need you at some point, and if I don't know you're going to be there, it makes the future kind of a little unsettled.
Yeah, no, 100% correct.
Yep.
Something popped into my head, Coach Ferry, is when those players put on that jersey, County College Morris. What do you want that to represent? What the players, for them. I just wanted to ask you about that.
It's important, and you hear and you read on social media. Look the part. We don't want to show up looking like we're disheveled, we're out of uniform. I know the old school code, the hat on backwards and the no earring. Yeah. I understand all of that, okay? but when it's time to punch the clock, we all look the same. When you put that uniform on, even though it says Morris or Titans or CCM, you're
Yeah.
representing the school. You're representing the 8, 9, 10,000 kids that go to that school. You're representing the administration and Jack and Roger and Dr. Iacona. You're representing all these people, and you're representing yourself. Okay, our last names are not on the back, so not that that means you're a selfish player when you put your last name on the back.
Yeah.
The uniform is a privilege. It's a privilege to wear that uniform, especially if you've played there, especially if you can. I attribute my best baseball memories, some of them, at least the beginning ones, on that field. And it's important to me, although the uniforms have changed and the style has changed and the colors changed last year, it's important for me to roll that out the way Coach Saris and Coach Morgan did for me. You have to look the part. You have to dress the part. If you do that and you have the ability and you look it, it's a pretty impressive thing.
Yeah.
So it's you are representing yourself and your family. If you go out and do something that is not emblematic of what we're preaching, or you do something on social media and you are part of our program, you're a reflection on us. And I don't want to be that coach being told by somebody else, what's the story with that player? What's the story with that scenario? I want people to praise our players. I want people to say, what a well-behaved bunch. What a well-played, well-coached, strong ability, but good kids type team. That's what, because we're raising young men, right? We're training baseball players who are young men. To my point before about being investing in the families, we want them coming from good bones. I don't want a player, he can throw 100 miles an hour. I don't want a player who's going to be not here all the time. That 24-1 kind of scenario, I don't want that. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a family, a team that we all can be in on and go for the same goal. I don't want to have scattered people doing certain things on their own schedule.
Yeah, I think it's, again, instilling those proper values and beliefs. I mean, of
Sure.
course, they get it from, raised by their parents, but again, continuing that, within the baseball program as well. And Coach Fiore, just have a couple more. I didn't want to skip this part that you're also, I believe, partner and GM of Baseball U North. It said
Yeah.
you handle, it said, a number of daily operations within the program. Also have coached
Sure.
the summer team the last 3 years. I had to
Sure.
ask, and have enjoyed, again, immense success there. So the fact that you have that going on as well, I just wanted to, if you can just talk about your experiences with
Sure.
Baseball U North.
Sure. The club environment, the travel ball has, in some ways, it's enhanced the high school season. The high school season doesn't end at the end of May or early June. The high school season is just getting going for some of these kids. And the 15, 16, and 17 kids, it's, they're entering or they're hot into these showcases and these weekend tournaments and these Boston and Georgia and Savannah and Florida tournaments that they're going to that are on a national stage. Perfect Game, for example, Diamond Nation, well attended by college coaches, teams that are just from 1 to 15 stockpiled with real strong talent. The Baseball U North is an affiliate of the original Baseball U, which started 10, 15 years ago. It's now morphed into, in my opinion, a little bit of a watered down industry. There's a club program on every street corner. There's a club program out of most counties, most high schools, certainly every athletic facility. You have a batting cage with 5 tunnels and a couple of pitching lessons going on. Undoubtedly, there's a team or two of certain ages, and that's great. What it does is it gives more kids the opportunity to play, yes, but it may not be what a 25-year-old who played 8 years ago as a 17-year-old, it might not be as strong as it was. Okay. So what we've done is opened up our tryouts, opened up our program to not only the high level player, but the more developmental player. Maybe the player who's a bit raw and needs a little bit of seasoning. Maybe the player who didn't get a good shake because he was a little bit buried on a high school spring roster. Maybe a kid who's a little bit athletically challenged and he's got ability, but he's young and he's raw and he needs a little bit of fine tuning and some shaping. We have the staff. We have good relationships with high school coaches. We're not the only club program out there. We are an affiliate and they're mostly based on geographic regions. So in the Union, Middlesex County area, we recruit kids to play for us through tryouts and hope we retain those kids. There's a turn of kids. Kids go from program to program. I coached the 18s, which would have been the graduated high school kid, okay, who's now committed to a 4-year school. I had kids on that team, and we won lots of games. Okay, that was a special group. For about 3 years, we won about 90% of our games. Yeah. Not every program has an 18U team. I find it special because that's the kind of age of kid I'm recruiting now. That's the kind of the age of kid I have coming into my program. Now, I was not the CCM coach when I was coaching there. Now I'm GMing it. I'm kind of more in the background of it because it conflicts with what I'm doing. So the goal is to support the developmental player and get him better. The goal for the stronger kid is to increase his exposure, maximize his visibility, and sit with him the way we do with some of our kids at CCM. Let's think about the schools. These are the schools that are looking at you. These are the schools that you want to go to. How do we make that work?
Yeah.
So, but it's a spring, summer, fall dynamic.
That's terrific. Hey, I know it's been a while. I said since your playing days, but I had to ask you about Hudson Catholic High School, Jersey City, and then of course played college ball at University of Miami, Fairleigh Dickinson University of Madison, the team MVP in 1991, captain in 1992, and graduated the BS in business. When you look back on those days, your playing days, I'm just wondering what comes to your mind, Coach Fiore.
Yeah, so Hudson Catholic High School, 1988, long time ago. Okay. We enjoyed some success there. Hudson County, very strong in baseball back then. St. Peter's Prep, they're still good. Hoboken was good. The public and private combination of schools, we beat each other up all year, and then you're going to face one of those teams in the county championship. Yeah. We had a nice state run my senior year going through St. Joe's Regional and Bergen Catholic before getting eliminated. So we had a nice state run. Out of high school, I had a bunch of kids on my high school team. Although our record didn't reflect it, we had a lot of kids move on to some real good baseball programs. I gave the University of Miami a run. I had it in my head. I was as stubborn as they were going to come. If I made the University of Miami, I'm going. I made it academically. I went down there. They knew who I was because I had attended a couple of different showcases. And the coach, matter of fact, the old Ron Frazier, who passed away, is from New Jersey. So he had come to see me play. I guess in today's terms, it would be more of a we have some money. We don't know what we're doing with it yet. You want to come in, be a walk-on, give it a shot. We average about 400 kids at tryouts every year. I'm like, oh my God. So even with that information, I went, I gave it a shot. It didn't work out. Transferred that winter to County College of Morris. That was Coach Seris's last spring at CCM, which was the spring of now '89. I backed up Mark Strittmatter, who went on to Virginia Commonwealth. He got drafted by the Colorado Rockies, and he played in their organization. He became a coach, catching instructor, And I believe he most recently was coaching with the Pittsburgh Pirates with Clint Hurdle. Um, he taught me how to catch. I knew how to catch, but he taught me how to catch. He taught me do it a little bit more this way, do a little bit more that way. You might want to consider this. He was instrumental in me getting the finishing touches because I was that raw kid. I was that kid who was talented, but we need to kind of fine tune the ability. He definitely helped me do that. Coach Saracen, Coach Morgan brought it out of me from the coaching piece. I went back to CCM for my sophomore year, academically and athletically. Played for Coach Morgan in the spring. The team didn't experience as much success as we had the previous year. I graduated that summer with my associate's degree and then transferred to Fairleigh Dickinson in Florham Park. Okay. Jim McDermott, who is the assistant coach at West Morris Central right now, was the head coach at FDU at that time. He recruited me my freshman year. He recruited me my sophomore year. And while a bunch of schools were at least in contact with me, Coach McDermott was the most sincere. He was the most personable. And you know what he did? He came to see me play. He came and sat with me and had lunch with me. He came and gave me the keys to the potential to start his program with junior college kids to get good really quick. And I wanted to play. I had 2 years left. I wanted to play. And outside of an injury, I played in almost every game that I was there under his him being the head coach. I graduated in December of '92. My transferring, I lost some credits, but I got my 4-year degree in December of '92, and didn't get drafted. Didn't have that strong of a career, which would even warrant that. They hold those post-draft combines, if you will, where they do the 60. I had good pop time as a catcher, but there were guys that were hitting better than me. I tried pitching. There were guys throwing harder than me. There were guys that were just more physically gifted, and then it ended. So I get the fear that these kids have. It's now what? Now what am I going to do? Yeah. You know. So that's what I try to help. Try to soften the landing of that mental thought.
That's right. That's right. I mean, you're playing the game for so long, and I said for it to, it said come to a screeching halt. Hey, most important is family, and I want to ask you about that because, as you know, right now, being a coach, and even when you were a player, it said, and you served, said this state, proudly 10 years in the Jersey Police Department. Jersey City Police Department, then transferred to the Scotch Plains Police Department, 25 years there, and then retired. Just talk about the support from your family, Coach.
Yeah, became a police officer at 25, served 10 years in Jersey City where I grew up, transferred, and an example of what you're talking about is I didn't want to transfer. I didn't want to leave. All of my high school friends and former high school teammates, we all became cops or firemen. So I didn't want to leave. We actually had a very competitive softball team that we would play in these law enforcement tournaments all over East Coast area. But family is the most important thing to me. And our family, we decided to move out to Scotch Plains. And when the opportunity to transfer out of Jersey City and work where I lived, at first I thought it might not be the coolest thing. You might want to have that decompression period where you need 15 20 minutes of just clearing your head, but I didn't really need that. I approached the job as just that. It was a job, and I enjoyed it very much in both cities. But being close to home, not having that commute, the role of the Scotch Plains police officer in the school district, a little bit different than the dynamic of one in Jersey City where your kids aren't in school. I enjoy Jersey very much, but living where you work, in respect to what I did, it allowed me to be home more in a career where you miss those family events some days.
Yeah.
In a career where it is dangerous. Okay, might not be New York City on any given day, but it is dangerous. It is a call. You get called, you just don't know what's behind the door or what you're moving into. It could be nothing, it could be everything.
Yeah.
That's the part you don't know. And for a family to sit with you and be loyal to you for supporting you with kids was a special gift.
Yeah.
So my wife and 3 kids, our family, we wound up um, uh, settling in Scotch Plains where we live now. My kids have gone through the school system. They're now in college, and now we are, beginning now at 52 and retired, coaching. Yes, we have a business in town as well, but what we do is we're looking down the road,
Yeah.
maybe closer to the beach, maybe a little bit more slower pace. We don't have to live and pay these taxes,
Yeah.
um, but that's kind of we live because we wanted our family to be in a nice town and go to good schools. I transferred to be closer to that, and it has made things a lot easier in a very difficult career at times.
Yeah, no, it's great to hear. Hey, Coach, the last two before you get the final word here is in terms of when you were playing baseball, now coaching, some of the intangibles that have stood out to you that you have that drive, you have that passion. It's so evident. Just some of the things, whether it's during in-game, a practice, outside of the diamond, said that you continues, that you said every day you want to do this. You said, this is your livelihood. Just talk about that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool being paid. It's a part-time job, and I'm not doing it for the money. Okay,
Yeah.
it's a pretty cool thing. Driving up to the school, driving down the path to the field,
Mm-hmm.
hearing the music playing, seeing the American flag blowing, and then watching the kids, watching 35, 36 kids in uniform, all in unison, all together, doing stretches that we all, laid out, having practiced as a team, and it's at this moving like in the military, when they move from point A to point B, it's all done in sync. It's
Yeah.
all done with a lot of precision. It's all done with hours and hours of practice leading up to that point,
Yeah.
just to do the simplest tasks. I can't tell you the excitement I have getting to the field. I can't tell you the excitement I have putting on the uniform and coaching and meeting the other coaches and meeting the other team and meeting I make it a point to walk up to the hill. If you know CCM's field, it sits below a large berm of a grassy hill, if you will.
Okay.
I make it a point to walk up to the parents and say hello and meet some families and talk to moms and dads, and finding out, hi, Mr. and Mrs. So and so, oh, you're so and so's parents.
Yeah.
I make it a point to do that. The umpire conversation before the game, all these little things. It's a drug. It's
Yeah.
something I really enjoy doing at this level. I enjoyed the high school piece, but it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the middle school piece, but it's a little bit different. There's freedom here, there's support here, and now I'm the head coach. I kind of CEO it, if you will. I delegate things to do in addition to practicing and implementing plays and stuff like that. The previous coaches I had that moved on to different schools, the new guys coming in, it's all a collective effort. And if we all are not on the same page, the kids will see it, the other teams will take advantage of it, and it's going to be one of those house of cards. It's eventually going to collapse. But
Yeah.
I can't tell you how much I love doing what I'm doing.
No, that's outstanding, Coach. And what I think you're in a just absolutely perfect spot, Coach Fiore, to offer advice. I mean, not only to those younger kids and athletes out there, but also people who want to break into the coaching ranks as well.
Sure.
Just what would you say to them if they're watching this interview?
Yeah, whether you're a kid who just finished up his collegiate career, you might be, moving at your own pace to get a college degree. You might have played at CCM. You might be someone closer to my age or even older, looking to get back into it now that your family is on the, your kids are away at school. Whatever it may be, there's all different types of people out there, but there's only 21 junior colleges in the state of New Jersey. Not everyone's got a baseball program, and not everyone's got a baseball program like us. And there's some good ones out there. Okay, Brookdale and Rowan, South Jersey. There's some very good teams out there. I consider myself extremely fortunate and lucky to be the head coach where I played, where I learned how to. I learned from good coaches, but I learned the game within the game, if you will. My advice would be what I just learned 30 something years ago, I would give to somebody else. Recruiting. There's a way to talk to people. Not everyone's got the gift to talk to a parent one way and then in the drop of a hat talk to a 12-year-old, a 22-year-old, a 19-year-old, a kid who is very impressionable, a kid who might be quiet and you might have to pull things out of them. As a well-rounded people person, I believe that I am, I think I can recognize that quite quickly and maybe make the kid feel not so nervous. Make the kid feel that a junior college is not less than a 4-year school, maybe even more than at the moment. Walking the campus, showing him and the parents where you go to class, where you go to the cafeteria, where the tutoring is, where the study hall is, where the bathroom is. These little personal touch kind of thing, I think can get done more so at a junior college because it's just that. It's the next level up from high school, but it's below a 4-year where most of your head coaches are full-time employees and they might have a task or a job or a class that they're teaching. I don't have that. I'm up at the school here and there, obviously every day for games and practices and stuff when we're in season, but I like going there. I find myself getting there on the earlier side just to breathe it in, just to go see what the field looks like when I had no intention of being on the field that day. Just that excitement, I think kids are going to see it, parents are going to feel it, and it's going to be something that is going to be talked about, hopefully, and kids see this interview, and kids want to be a part of our program, and kids are, they're dying to come in here because when I played here, the kids were good, really good. Kids that went on to, Division I, kids that got drafted. Like that's the kind of player that has the history, as you said, of being here. People that made the pros. Like you can feed your family if you have a gift, a God-given gift that you work with, that we recognize and we enhance and help get you in the right path, whether it's professional, collegiate, moving on to the best academic and athletic combination school. That's kind of our goal. Our goal is to get you from here, make you better, and move you on to the next school that's going to be the best fit for you.
Yeah, that's fabulous. All right, Coach Fiore, you get the last word here. Message your family, friends, former teammates, coaches, Hudson Catholic High School, FD Fairleigh Dickinson University, and here now the County College of Morris. With not only the administration, athletic department, the baseball team.
Yes, I am the head baseball coach at County College of Morris, and my message to any former player of mine, any friend of mine, any person who has a son who is interested in playing college baseball, if you want the best education for the best price and the best baseball program for that academic and financial package, I can't see how County College of Morris is not on your menu. County College of Morris has a rich tradition academically, athletically, and professionally. They turn out kids to four-year schools, just regular students, and obviously athletes. They have kids that come from public schools, private schools, in Morris County, and out of state even. Kids that are on our incoming roster are from Florida, from Pennsylvania, from Virginia, from New York, as well as obviously New Jersey, obviously Randolph High School. We have kids from all over coming in. The word is spreading. And I want people to know that when junior college is something that you are thinking of, gone are the days of, what is a junior college? What is that? Is that something that, Dad, tell me more about that. That's not the case. County College of Morris, in some cases, is going to be the best opportunity and best experience that you'll have collegiately and baseball wise.
Sounds good. Hey, Coach Fiore, just an incredible and honor and privilege being able to interview you. Again, congratulations, said on your
Thank you.
success as the baseball coach of the County College of Morris in Randolph, New Jersey. And looking forward to, again, seeing, what the baseball program does, said moving forward.
Same here. I appreciate the time and I appreciate all that you do here. And we're looking forward to your network getting out to our games and hopefully, getting the live stream going so our kids can be seen. And that's what I want for my kids. I want my kids to be seen. I want my kids to have the easiest amenities possible. They click on something and bang, the game is there. And, they're able to see themselves and be the best player they can be and be seen by people who can't get to the game.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay, buddy. Take care.